One huge thing that holds men back nowadays, especially in today's society, is a victim's mindset. Okay, most men in the UK are born and nurtured and grow up with this mindset of being a victim. Okay, they have a mindset that the reason why nothing is going well for them, or the reason why they can't make money, the reason why they can't do this, they can't do this, is because of someone else's fault. It's because of this. It's because of that. It's because of this. Okay, and they are purely just a victim. Okay, they quite literally let life have its way with them, and whenever something happens, they blame it on something else. Okay, they can't take accountability and they can't take responsibility for the reason why most things are going wrong in their life, and the reason why this is happening to them or this is happening isn't anyone else's fault. It's themselves. Okay, I call that, and it's called a victim's mentality, because you have three different types of people in life. Okay, you've got a victim, you've got a conqueror, and you've got a survivor. Okay, so we'll go in the order of from the victim to survivor to the conqueror. Okay, a victim is kind of like what I explained, is they're quite literally just at the mercy of other people. Okay, as you hear, victims are people that, something's happened to them, someone's done this to them, they've been a victim of this, they've been a victim of that person, they've been a victim of this, and they haven't actually, life's just had its way with them, someone's just had their way with them, and they've been at the mercy of someone else, and they blame everything on other people's circumstances. All right, so if you scroll around life, walk around life, blaming other people, the reason I can't do this is because, I don't have the time to do this, and the reason I don't have the time to do this is because of this person's fault. If this just happened to me, or if I just had this person's life, I'd be able to do this. And they're just a victim. Okay, you guys know what a victim is. And then you've got a survivor, okay? And now a survivor is kind of a victim, but they're not a victim, because survivors essentially, they barely scrape it. All right, they barely, I guess, they sort of barely make things work. Okay, and what I mean by a survivor is, for instance, if you're like a cancer, like for instance, you can have people that are cancer survivors. Okay, they face the exact same, I guess, circumstances of the situations as the victim, and they were, strong enough, and they were mentally capable enough to survive. Okay, they're not exceeding in anything, but they're not, drowning in everything like the victim is, and they're simply just surviving. Do you know what I mean? Like every single day, day to day, they show up every single day. They do just enough, and they're quite literally just surviving. They're walking around their life, and they're surviving. And then finally, we've got the conqueror. Okay, and now a conqueror is not a victim. They don't just survive, but they conquer whatever it is that they do. Okay, they conquer lifestyle. Okay, they conquer their desires. They conquer their greatest failures, and they go out every single day. And they understand that in order to win and in order to see the life that they want to live, they can't wait for life to give it to them. They need to go out there, grab it by both hands, and take that life. Okay, and they walk around life with like just an air of confidence and just an air of that power, because they understand that in order to be the man that they need to be, they need to conquer. Okay, and when you think of great conquerors, and when you think of just the word conquer, you think of great men like Alexander the Great. Okay, you think of great men like Julius Caesar. You think of great men like Philip the Great. Alexander the Great's dad. And I've been going into like deep rabbit holes of consuming a lot of these men's content these past couple of days. And just the thing about all of these men is, they've got it in their names. They were great conquerors, okay? Men of their day. And men, back then they used to literally have to go out and fight and kill animals and, go out and conquer shit in order for them to be able to feed and protect for their family. Like back then, right, as a man, in order to be able to get women, okay, you quite literally had to showcase that you are capable of going out into the wilderness, conquering and killing an animal and bringing it back for your woman and for your family to be able to eat. Okay, like that was a minimum standard as a man in order for you to be seen as attractive and in order for you to be able to have access to the beautiful woman in your camp and in your tribe. Okay, And I genuinely, I find it so crazy how we've gone from there to most men can't work. Like most men are victims and they're slaves to their own motivation and dopamine system, where they've got a victim's mindset and there's nothing conquerish about them. Do you know what I mean? Like back in the day, like great men, conquering was just an aspect of life. Like they quite literally had to go to war and kill other men in order just for them to be able to survive, in order just for them to be able to eat. Okay. However, now in society where we've got it the most easiest, we've got everything around us, and it's just made men lazier. And of course, it's made us lazier because we don't have to go and kill people in order to succeed. But it's one of those things where genuinely, as men, if we just stop behaving like victims, and if we just started to tap into that conqueror mindset, waking up every single day, even when you don't want to, just conquering life, okay, society will be a much better place.